Here in the studio with me, trial veteran out of the Seattle jurisdiction, a face you know well, Anne Bremner. Anne, I would lick my chops if opposing counsel dared to bring on one of my witnesses. Why? I've got them on cross-exam. I can say whatever I want, and they go, "That's right. Tell it." Yeah, that's right. It just goes on.
It's like watching a train wreck.
What were they thinking?
I don't know if they were thinking.
Witness.
It's one of those kind of things, and maybe they got a little too smart, you know, and like maybe pride coming before the fall. Think we can get something out of them, and of course it's just totally backfired, and it's been painful, very painful to watch.
Very painful. But that is feeding right into opposing counsel.
I know.
When you think you know the other side's witness better, what do you make of it? You've been a Jackson supporter lately.
Well, you know, and I was in court with Diane this morning when the judge announced that he was issuing an arrest warrant. It was pretty shocking because it was just definitive. I'm issuing a warrant for his arrest. I'm going to revoke his bond. And everyone sat there for a minute, and then everyone just flew out of the courtroom because it was really big news. And I think, you know, this can play very terribly against Jackson with the jury if they hear about it, which I'm sure some will. But, you know, think about it from this side. He almost looks like they're trying to hunt him down in this prosecution. You know, Tom Sneddon, you know, with 100 search warrants, and like Javert and Les Miserables. In this case, you know, we don't know yet. We don't have enough evidence yet to judge this case. Nor does the jury, of course. They have to hear all the evidence. But yet, the specter of him this morning was almost pathetic. I said on the air before he came back, maybe he'll come back in his pajamas. You know, he did. In some ways, it was just horribly sad, so it could be viewed that way as well. But, you know, hopefully we won't see much more of this. The judge did say he'd issue a warrant, and he didn't. He gave him some grace period, and everything resumed. The jury went right back in the box. The witness was on the stand. The lawyers went into chambers, and we went on with the testimony. So it's been quite a day.
Michael Jackson's
He's going to go leave the country, and he's got the girlfriend, and he tells her things like, "I know who the real killer is. I'm going to tell you."
But the things that Catherine revealed. By the way, how did you come up with that list? Where did that come from?
You know better than that.
No, I know better than that. I know to ask it, but I also know I'm not going to get an answer.
This is true. Yeah,
right, but
it's fabulous that she did.
I mean, is that enough to convict, to say, look at this stuff, look at what he's got here?
Well, this is so compelling. I mean, when I went to camp as a kid, my mom had a list of things I needed for survival camp back in Seattle.
Viagra was not part of it.
No, it was not. No, it wasn't.
I saw her a little over a week ago. She was an important part of my case because she didn't stand by Billy and his mother's case, and that was very important and helpful to the public in terms of the lawsuit. And she's been helping others in prison. She wants to come help mothers who are in prison. And I think
so you're saying she's not an evil person?
We are all fallen angels, Bill. And
whoa.
But except for you.
No. I'm a fallen angel, but I'm not going to hurt two children and do what she did under any circumstance.
I agree with you
at
completely.
any time. So there are degrees of fallen angels.
That's right.
This woman has forfeited her right, in my opinion, all right, because of the horrible thing. Look, you got 3 lives here. You got this 21-year-old molested at 12 and 2 children.
I agree. I'm an ex-prosecutor in sex assault crimes. I'm with you. Okay. I'm just saying that we also have to look, this is a multi-layered case, and we have to look at those children, and the welfare of those children is the most important thing right now.
That's absolutely right. All right, Counselor, thanks very much for coming in.
My pleasure.
Really appreciate it.
Thanks.
About the latest tapes.
Well, basically, I've lied to my mother before about what's in my savings account or whatever else. It's not the worst thing in the universe. I mean, it doesn't make him guilty. They're trying to say pathologically he's a lout. You know, that's what he is. But does that make him a murderer? No, absolutely not. It's just mood music about this person, and that's it. And I think that he's already established when he picked this jury that just because you have to cheat or do something bad doesn't make you a murderer. And this is a capital case, a death penalty case.
Issued today, crazy. Rusty Dornan, thanks. Anne Bremner is a defense attorney who's been observing the trial from the start. She joins us now from Santa Maria. Anne, good to see you again tonight. How much of the chaos are the jurors actually seeing and hearing?
You know, they come in through the back, and so they don't see all the things in the front that, you know, the releasing of, 10 white doves for 10 not guilty verdicts, or, the parade of people bring their dogs and their babies and signs saying that, where, people are going to go to hell for certain things in this case. But there are jurors there are fans in the back that stand back there as the jurors come and go, and there are police officers everywhere, and Zeus, the bomb dog, and then all the media sits and watches them too. So it's kind of a little more of a limited version of kind of the zany scene out front that the jurors see.
I got to tell you, that is the last place in the world I would want to be right now. A full day of deliberations. I feel a little bad for you, I got to admit. The full day of deliberations for this jury, it's about 6 hours every day. Today they only worked for 2.5 hours. Why so short? And I mean, what does this do to the momentum of the jury?
They had high school graduation today in Santa Maria. The Santa Maria Saints, that's their high school. And the judge said they could be done at 11 o'clock today, and the graduation ceremony was at 1. So, yeah, it does hamper the momentum that they have, is they, day by day work through all the evidence in this case, 98 pages of jury instructions, and 10 counts, including very complicated conspiracy counts. But hopefully tomorrow they'll gain that back, and I'm hoping for a verdict tomorrow. You
think there may be a verdict tomorrow? Do you think Michael Jackson is trying to influence this jury? I mean, they're not sequestered. He keeps visiting the hospital. Last night he went allegedly for some sort of a back problem, according to his spokesperson. I mean, I've had back problems all my life. I've never been to a hospital. You get a little wet heat or a little dry heat, and maybe you go to see a chiropractor or something. I've never really heard of going to a hospital repeatedly for a minor back problem.
Well, it's like my grandma said, what a coinkydink, what a coincidence, that when he goes every time, it's picking a jury. It's when the accuser is testifying and is still on the stand, going for a second day, was pajama day, and then, of course, during closing arguments, and now during jury deliberations, twice, because we know he went again last night. So the sympathy factor, if you can't do this to me, this is going to be horrible for me. I'm really a wounded sparrow. I'm not a vulture.
All right. Well, we'll see. Anne Bremner, appreciate you joining us. You think there may be a verdict tomorrow? We'll be watching. Thanks very much,
Here's
Anne.
hoping.
Yeah, well,
Thank
we'll
you.
see. Now, of course, begins the guesswork. What went right for Jackson? Where did the prosecution go so wrong? Prosecution gave a press conference. Helping us cover all the angles tonight, two people who have followed this trial from the get-go. CNN senior legal analyst Jeffrey Toobin joins us from Washington, and from Santa Maria, defense attorney Anne Bremner. Anne, let's start out with you because you are there. Your thoughts? Surprised?
No, I'm not. Either verdict, guilty or not guilty on all counts, would have been rationally based on the evidence. And the prosecution faltered and failed in their case in many ways. And I thought for a long time there could be an acquittal or a hung jury. That having been said, they gained momentum at the end, and I thought there was a specter of conviction on some of the counts. But that was, some momentum, but not clearly that there would be a conviction. So I'm not surprised. There's a lot of jubilation out here today. There's not a lot of shock out here, frankly, Anderson. It's not like the O.J. Simpson verdict where people's jaw dropped. This is simply one that I think was rationally based.
Wow, that's a man who voted not guilty for Michael Jackson.
It's that old saying, where there's smoke, there's fire. But this jury understood reasonable doubt, and so just smoke is not enough to convict. And there's actually a Scottish verdict, which is not proven, Anderson, as opposed to saying innocent. And that may well be where some of these jurors, at least juror number one.
What do you think, Anne? Because, O.J. Simpson was not guilty, and then there was a civil case against him.
Yeah, that's right. And, look at what the defense argued in this case. It's about the money, and more money. It's about the mother, and the, wacky mother, as Larry King had referred to her. So, will they go forward with the civil case? You bet they could. And if they're liars, grifters, and actors, then you bet they may. And can they win? After this, it's going to be a real uphill battle, Anderson. But the fact remains that they have that right. And it happened in the O.J. Simpson case. And if you believe the defense in this case, that they were motivated by money, then why wouldn't they now?
Anne Bremner, Jeffrey Toobin.
Now you're asking about whether or not that would play.
You know what? I'm not going to ask any more on that because obviously I didn't do it properly.
Well, yeah, sorry.
And unfortunately, also, we're out of time, so we'll have to leave it there. And the next time, I'll formulate a question that makes sense to everyone watching. Anne Bremner, Tommy Pope, thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.